welcome to our Living Well with
Living Foods class.
Yes, thank you for all coming, and we just pray that Father will bless us here, and we're going to start with a prayer. Abba, Father, we bless you, Father, for all that you are doing in our lives. We bless you, Father, for those that are seeking to bring changes in their lives and in the body that you have given them. That the temple, as you say in your instruction book, is now to be cleansed. To do that, Father, with all the environmental hazards we've had, with all the junk that we've been processing through our bodies. And it seems we spend so many years of our lives, the first half of our lives, it seems that we do that to accumulate wealth. In the second half of our years, we spend the wealth just to keep our health. And it just needs to be changed. So we bring this class to those that are in want of what you are bringing to the table, in hopes that they bring it to their children and can raise children up with the healthy foods that are in your instruction book. So Father, we pray that this will bring taste buds alive, bring the senses alive, bring the brain cells alive. All the cells of the body will rejoice in you. In Yeshua HaMashiach's beautiful name. Hallelujah. And a disclaimer, my infamous disclaimer. If you have a serious illness, check with a physician, see what he has to say about it, and get it diagnosed. And if you want to follow what that physician says, or our most high physician, that'll be up to you. All I'm bringing about here is a vehicle that we found that works for us, and it has helped our bodies to make changes to, as the scriptures say, renewed like an eagle. It truly does that when we have put in so much in our bodies to make it get out of alignment. It can be brought back. It can be palatable for every cell in our body to just rejoice, like I said in the prayer. Our body will love it, as it has for us. It does turn light bulbs on in our head, and just everything starts to open up. Every channel in our body starts to open as a result of that. But as Hippocrates says, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. That works well, and there are plenty of places that work with raw foods to bring that to fruition. So we're trying to do the best we can to demonstrate to you all what we have found is successful. Thank you. Debbie, you going to start with the parasite?
We're actually going to start with the recipe, first thing. The first thing we're going to start with is a parasite candida recipe, and it's in your recipe. It's coconut water. It's coconut water that we use.
This is coconut water. Coconut water is virtually clear. There's no, it's a liquid just like water.
Oh yeah.
It's not, when you see a milk, you can't see through it. In the milk, the difference is they take the pulp, the white pulp, out of the shell, and they mix it with the water that comes from the coconut, and it's blended together, and then they strain it to get the fibrous material out, and what's left is a milk. And that's with any of the products like almond milk that we make, or although we leave everything intact, we don't strip it. We leave all of it in there. The best way is to leave it. We don't filter it all out.
And we don't pasteurize ours. It's always fresh.
So what would we substitute the coconut water?
Just water. And maybe like a fourth a teaspoon of honey.
Okay.
Or if you're diabetic, then go to, would be agave, would be a substitute, or molasses for a sweetener.
The pumpkin seeds are anti-parasitic in your digestive tract. They're good for your kidneys also. And in Germany, they found what they do with pumpkin seeds is they make pumpkin seed milk, and they use it for getting rid of tapeworms in the body. So this is a really, really good parasite cleanser for your body. We're going to put a half a cup of raw pumpkin seeds in. and a handful of raw almonds. Almonds are also good for parasite control. They are very, of course, antioxidant, and they benefit your digestive tract a great deal. They do lots for your heart too, but we're concentrating on what they do for your digestive tract right now. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. The next thing we're going to put in, that was a handful of almonds that I just put in there, just so you know. And the next thing we're going to put in is a half a teaspoon of oregano.
And we can soak the almonds for those that do not have that Blend-Tec.
Right. Soak your almonds beforehand if you don't have a Blend-Tec or a Vitamix.
You say chew almond?
So, half a teaspoon of oregano powder. And then, oregano is actually a fungus remover from your body. So oregano is very strong. When you get oregano oil, that is extremely powerful.
I bought it at Whole Foods.
Good, yes, it's very powerful. It's naturally an antiviral, so if you get a virus of some kind, oregano oil is really good for that. Taking this would be really good for that. It's also anti-inflammatory, and one of the cool things about oregano is it rids the body of superbugs, and what's better about this than like an antibiotic is that antibiotics, when they kill bugs, the bugs get resistant to it and they come back.
Oregano won't.
Oregano won't do that.
Wow.
It kills them and they can't come back. They
Go figure.
can't make a resistance to it.
Naturally.
Yeah, because it's natural. 1 clove of garlic. So if you remember some of these things and write them down for future reference, you won't, when you run into different problems that you get in a virus or anything like that, you'll know what you can, just go to your own culinary cupboard and you'll have stuff in there that you can use to fight it.
And you can always ask the Holy Spirit to give you a recipe that will work for you, and you will get an answer.
Yeah.
So that's happened to me so many times with making poultices for people, literally asking the Holy Spirit, what do I need? And He'll give me the recipe for each thing as it's needed.
I'm going to put in what's on my list.
Yeah, but don't overfill it.
I never do.
Yes, you do.
Except when it's
It's
French.
just stronger salt, right?
Remember,
Yes.
it's a sauce, it's not.
Yeah, this is a
The
salt.
soup.
So, this is going to be our cream sauce that we're making right now to put over our radishes. And it sounds really funny to make a cream sauce to put over radishes. But when you tasted, a lot of you tasted it last time and you liked
That
it.
was delicious.
Yeah, so
What was that brown stuff that was on top?
that was our Parmesan cheese that we made.
The brown stuff that was sprinkled on top of it?
Yes.
It was like a sauce?
Yes. Well, the sauce, this is the
Right.
sauce that we're
None of
making.
that brown
The
stuff
brown,
was on
the
top?
crumbly stuff that was on
Yeah,
top,
yeah.
that was our raw vegan Parmesan that we had made that day.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gosh, that was different. It didn't even taste like Parmesan.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful.
Do you want me to do the radishes while you're doing that?
Yes, and he's gonna shred radishes
Shred
for me. I'll let you start that and then we'll make noise all at once.
Now, radishes also have a lot of potent characteristics to them.
What's that?
Did you explain that, Debbie?
The radishes
Yeah.
are,
They're antifungal, they can stop candida cells from growing, which is one of the biggest problems we have in the good old US of A is most people, children to old age, have extreme candida. And this is evident by seeing people that are eating sweets all the time, because candida loves sweets. So it becomes an addiction for, it's literally a parasitic fungus. And it develops, according to what I've heard, Oklahoma State's been doing the research on this, that candida, the fungus, will eventually cause cancerous cells to start growing, because the candida is just so rampant in the body. So along with that, you have also overcoming intestinal gas, stomach aches, kills bacteria, pathogens, expels digestive worms also.
This little radish, does all that.
Storm stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Where do you want me to put this over?
Over here, yeah.
I'm eating a lot of that from now on.
It's very good for you. So we're gonna put the radishes down, we're gonna put the sauce on, and this is our Parmesan cheese that we made last time. And we're gonna put that on top as, like if you, yeah.
You made it last week?
Yeah.
I didn't get brown.
It got brown because we used, what did we use? Pecans. Pecans are brown.
Yeah.
And we mixed it all together in our blender, and so it came out this color.
No, I wasn't here then.
No, you were.
You were?
I wasn't there either, no, because I don't remember the
I was?
Maybe it was the time.
I wasn't here last week.
I wasn't
Was it
here
the week before?
Neither was I.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
One of the last, so while he's doing that, we're gonna talk a little bit about our bladder and our kidneys. Almost everybody at one point or another has a kidney infection or a bladder infection. So, in case you didn't know how what happens there, it's characterized by an urgent desire to empty the bladder, and sometimes, frequently you have to go, and it's painful when you do. It's pretty much called bacterial cystitis, as an inflammation of the bladder caused by harmful bacteria. And I don't know if you knew this or not, I did not know this, that 76% of the bacterial cystitis is caused by E. coli. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Wow.
So it just goes to show that, we run into E. coli quite often, if that's the case. So but it says it's a common bacterium in the intestinal tract. It's already there. So what you want to do is make sure that your urinary, intestinal, and intestinal tract are clean and you're eating the right food. Now, the reason we say that you should always change your diet, I mean, not change it completely, but give it different things to eat every day. Something different every day. Don't do the same thing every day, because you're going to be lacking in one thing or another if you do that. Start trying stuff you've never tried before. Take some of the leafy greens that you've never tried before and start using those. And recent studies have found that cranberry appears to contain a special group of compounds that block bacteria from attaching to the walls of the bladder. And evidently the way we get the infection in the bladder is that the bacteria attaches to the walls and then forms from there. But it has to attach to the wall first before it can be harmful to you. And so what cranberry juice does is it keeps that bacteria from attaching to the wall in the first place, and then it just flushes out through your urinary tract. So that's kind of neat that it will do that. And so cranberry obviously is going to be one of the things that is good for a urinary tract infection of any kind, whether it be in your kidney or your bladder. So we're going to do two things. We're going to make a kidney bladder fruit leather. It sounds kind of awful, doesn't it? Sound like you're going to be making kidneys and bladders in the fruit leather, but you're not. And this is a leather that I made about a week ago, but I changed it since then and added some more powerful things to it to make it better for kidney and bladder infections. The one I did had apples in it, and so I've since changed that, but the leather we're going to try today will be the one I made. But this is going to be a new one, and we're going to try this one today. So it has, let's see, do I have, oh, thank you, right on time.
Debbie, can cranberries have some other juice in it?
Oh yeah, in fact, I'm going to make a juice
Behind the
for you
scenes
all.
staff.
And it's going to have pineapple.
Okay. So and it'll be just as healthy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah, because-
also good for people who has frequent urination?
Yes.
So I know a few people.
I
Yeah.
couldn't hear.
if it's good for people who have frequent urination. If they do, they may have like a chronic infection that's a low-grade chronic infection, and they may need to.
Or prostate problem.
Or a prostate problem, especially if it's a man. If it's a man, he may
It's
have.
women.
Okay, it's women, okay. So they may have a low-grade bacterial problem, and they need to start putting some raw foods into their bodies to get rid of that bacteria type stuff. It's not just the acidity of the cranberry. Everybody tells you, that it's the acidity of the cranberries that makes it different, but it's not. It's the other compound. I mean, that's part of it, but there's other compounds in there that even in the studies, they haven't been able to isolate what those compounds are, but they've found that when the cranberry juice is present with that bacteria, that it doesn't allow it to attach to the kidney wall. So it's got the secret ingredient that Father put in it. Like, that's pretty cool. So 1 cup of cranberries is what we're going to start with. Y'all are really quiet tonight.
Were they frozen?
These were frozen, yes. Right after Christmas is a good time to get them because they're usually on sale. Buy a bunch of them, then you'll have them and freeze them, and you'll have them all year. Because one of the things about, not this leather, but this cilantro chelation, you can freeze that and it'll last you all year. But the cranberries will last for a good long time, probably about 6 months in the freezer.
They don't lose potency?
No, they don't lose potency. Not when they're frozen. Okay. The next thing we're going to put in is 1.5 cups of blueberries. Of course, they're very antioxidant. And also good for bladder and kidney infections.
Was that frozen also?
These were also frozen, yeah.
Yeah, the frozen ones last a long time. Because they keep them in the freezer.
I wanted them to be soft by the time you got here.
Like how much? How much of that do you have to eat in order to get it to be effective with the parasites?
Vegan farmers.
Any amount is good, but if you were like doing a cleanse, I would take a cup a day for like 3 days at least.
No, how much?
A cup a day, that whole thing.
And how many cups do you think this is?
That recipe makes
1.5, 2.
2 servings.
Two
two servings. 2 1-cup servings, I think is what I said in there. Did I say that? Yeah, makes 2 servings of 1 cup.
Well, you just served 12.
I know, but you didn't get a whole cup either. The highest in phytochemicals of the pineapple is the center core of your pineapple. And the phytochemicals are what fights cancer, it fights all the infections and everything in your body. And so that's what you want the core for.
But can you buy those, just the core?
You can get them for free.
Could you do
Where?
this like a smoothie, or have it frozen and just add a little lime
Yeah,
juice or
you
something like that?
could.
And
You
just
could
make a
definitely make a
smoothie?
smoothie out of it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm liking those now.
Yeah.
You get the core.
At Publix.
Go any place that they core the pineapples and ask them if they will save you some.
Yeah, Publix. I know.
Actually, but if they're doing it right then, they'll give them to you right then.
in the
Which is
in
what
the
you really
in
want.
the
probably throw them
produce
away.
department.
They probably throw them away.
Pens or pencils?
When they say
Yeah.
Albertson, everywhere.
Now you know.
I was in closest.
What was
to
the other
me.
thing you put in there, papaya?
Papaya,
Papaya,
yes.
yeah.
Papaya has the power to destroy roundworms. And it digests 200 times its weight in protein, which is really amazing to me. Another reason why you need to eat raw, especially like papaya. Because when we get older, our enzymes tend to diminish. And so we need to have like an extra boost that helps digest our food. That's why a lot of times when we get older, we get gas and we don't feel good when we eat, that's the reason. It's because our enzymes are not as good as they used to be.
Can share the bench.
Okay, now I'm going to put in kefir water. I've told you about this before, that the probiotics that we have back there are the kimchi, and we use kefir too in the morning. And this is kefir. See the white stuff on the bottom?
I never saw the water.
This is the water.
Because I bought the kefir and the smoothie thing, oh my gosh,
What is
it's so
a kefir?
delicious. It's
Yeah.
so delicious.
Yeah, you can put the kefir granules in almost any liquid
What is it?
and make.
Except water, of course.
Yeah,
Don't
except
do
water.
anything with water. It's
It's
gotta have something
sugar,
to
something
feed it.
sweet
Yeah.
in it.
So if you took, it can be milk products, it can be any juices
Yeah.
that are made, you can make a kefir out of it because it's got to have some sweet stuff to feed and make the probiotics. It has to get the biotics going or the bacteria.
Yeah.
And it's good bacteria, not bad bacteria.
Can we just get it in Whole Foods?
I don't know if you can get that in Whole Foods.
This is a package of kefir granules, and you can buy them usually online. I don't ever see them.
Can you sell us?
Yes, I can get some.
We can
and
bring them in.
Sell them for you.
Where are you getting yours?
Mine, I'm getting them online.
Online.
Yeah.
Kefir package.
Do you have a
Yeah,
specific
I'll be-
website that you use?
I usually use Wilderness Family Naturals. Is where I usually get mine.
Or you can look on our website, which is the livingwellwithlivingfoods.org.
That with
It's going to be .org
Oh,
this
.org,
week,
This is
so
the
we're
wilderness.
changing it over to .org.
Where'd you get it? Wilderness what?
Wilderness one?
Wilderness what?
Wilderness Naturals. Wilderness Family Naturals.
Are you about to tell us how you make the kefir water?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you do is you just fill this up with coconut water or any juice. Pineapple juice tastes really, really good with this. Up to about there. You don't want to get any higher than that, or you may have blow the lid off of your
strong.
jar. It's very strong because it ferments, you know. And just like the kimchi does, it also does the same thing. It ferments and pushes up your lid if it's too high. And then you put a whole package of these granules in it, and mix it all up, and then just set it out somewhere and let it set for like 3 or 4 days
In a warm place.
in a warm place.
Top of the refrigerator and the back of the refrigerator is good because that warmth will get it to grow quicker. You get the bacteria
Or on the
growth.
stove, you can put it on the stove too. You can see at the bottom, the kefir granules, the white stuff, those are the kefir granules in the bottom of this.
And once you've started a starter, if you leave about a ½ inch in and not use the last ½ inch of liquid, all you have to do is refill with a new batch of the juices that you're using, whatever product you're using. Although if you're using a milk, it's usually going to get real thick. But in the other juices, apple juice, pineapple juices, things like that, it will just be self-sustaining. That's why a package like this,
Lasts
you
a
could
long time.
literally get your neighbors started in a good
Really?
city block
Yeah.
with the amount of kefir granules you get.
So leave a ½ inch, you said? So
You leave a ½ inch of liquid in and just refill. You'll have the
You'll
have the
use it down
granules.
to about that much.
You'll have the solids left on the bottom. So when you pour the new stuff in, it's going to mix it up, and you can stir it up or whatever you need to, shake it up, and then just again let it sit out for a few days. Then put it in the refrigerator and use it over the course of time. We actually start and make 2 bottles because we'll have one. It'll go pretty quickly, and then the others being started. And when that's done, we put it in the fridge, and when we finish the other, then we just started with a new
So
batch.
we have a system
We
going.
get a system. We
Yes.
do the same with the kimchi. We will start the kimchi and we'll do 1 gallon and then we'll start another one because we go through it so quickly.
Can you use your own homemade juice if you juice your fruits and vegetables? You can-
Absolutely.
that's
In fact,
actually
that's preference.
Yes.
Store-bought
How many
juices
granules
are
do you
not
put in?
good.
The whole
to
package,
use.
Oh,
the whole package.
And you said to let that stuff sit out for a
Yes.
couple of days and then refrigerate.
Right, after it's fermented. And you can taste it and tell it's fermented because it'll have a tang to it. And it'll,
One of the things for the benefit of everybody here is, if you don't know, living well with living foods, all the foods we try to produce and show you are alive. And whether that be a juice, if we tell you to use pineapple juice, pineapple or apple juice, or any of the orange juice or something like that, that means make it at home. Because you're going to have a juice that's going to stay alive. And instead of buying the pasteurized ones that the commercial stores will have, that is not good food. It's dead food. So it's not going to give the cells the life it needs.
I've tasted that kefir at your house, and it's nasty.
Ah!
Especially when you mix it with the coconut juice and then let it ferment, or I think that's what you gave me. It was in a little teeny taking a little canteen shots at it. Yeah, and it's like, oh, man.
If the coconut water is not sweet, it won't taste that great. But if it's sweet, if your juice is sweet, then it'll taste
And you
better.
could sweeten it previously with, some honey, or, because the bacteria wants something to feed on, it'll be sweeter. Yes?
What are you making now?
We're making,
The second
on
one.
your recipe book, we're making the kidney bladder fruit leather. Okay.
So you don't want to stir that up to start it, you just pour it from the top.
Yes, right. Right. Okay, so we're gonna blend this up now.
Here's the noise.
Except for the kefir, this sounds like one of my
When you're when you're smoothies.
Dental tools? Oh.
That's almost what it is. It's just not as loose as a smoothie. And what I do with it is I wanted to show everybody how to make fruit leather, so we're going to do that. This is my my Excalibur dehydrator over there, and this is the sheet that I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do leather, because I've been doing it many years and found that there's some tricks to it, so that you come out with a nice even product when you're done. So what I do is I start out putting it around the outside edge, and I put most of it around the outside edge. And then I take my spatula and kind of
Even it out.
even it out. But on the outside edges, you leave it thicker than the inside. Because when you dehydrate, the outside edges always dry first before the inside does. So you let the outside stay thicker and the inside thinner. And I keep it a lot more thicker on the outside than I do on the inside.
Like a pizza, in a way.
Yeah, like a crust on a pizza almost.
Maybe she'll toss it. Nice and round.
You want to taste the raw product?
No.
He's going to give you the already finished product that's close to this. And I'm going to try it. Make sure it's okay. Pretty good. It's not supposed to be really, really sweet, but remember when you make leather, that even if it doesn't taste super sweet here, when it dries, the sweetness is going to heighten. So, just so you know that when you make leather. And then you put it in your dehydrator and you turn it right on. Very simple. It'll take about 6 hours for this to dry. And
Only you.
pardon?
What? I didn't say anything.
I'm gonna give you what this tastes like. It's not real sweet right now, but if you dry it, it'll be really sweet. Okay. So, anybody have any questions on any of that?
Why are you bothering to dry it rather than, because for storage?
For storage
purposes?
purposes, yes.
Yeah, so you just do
So the- so
you just
like
have
if-
a little piece at a time.
Yeah, like if you had a kidney infection and you were gonna travel or go someplace and you didn't have time to make a smoothie, or you didn't have time or you didn't have cranberry juice available to you, you'd have this little snack that you could take and it would get rid of it. You drink lots of water, of course, when you do take that.
Now, is this something you can just eat all the time, or is it mainly just for a bladder infection? Or?
You could eat it all the time, but it's mainly for a bladder infection because I put everything in there so that it's pretty powerful.
What about that first one that compensated?
The first one you can also eat at any time. I don't think anybody
Was there
would.
any reason for that one?
Yeah, that one was for parasites and to keep candida cells from growing in your body.
Oh,
So you want to do radishes fairly regularly in your meals during the weeks. Yes,
I have a question about the raw veggie Parmesan cheese, because that recipe's not on here.
no, it's not. It was last week's or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, how often do you do this?
We do this every week.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
okay.
So I'm sorry it's not on there, but that was something we did a couple weeks ago. And this next week, don't forget that we're going to have a raw foods buffet. So bring something that you've made that's living raw and
Or something that we have learned here.
either something you've learned here or maybe something that some recipe that you've found that's got all raw things in it or close to it. It can be dehydrated raw, but we want you to share and be creative. Think of something new, you know, that you've never done before and put it together.
You're going away.
Very good.
We're not done yet.
Leather is very
Oh,
good.
the leather's good? Good.
Kids love this stuff.
Oh, yeah. My son loves this stuff too.
It's good in their lunchbox.
And that's another good thing to do with it is when you have children and they're not going to like a smoothie necessarily or they need something when they're out. And this just gives them that little extra boost of something they need. It's not junk food, it's not pop, it's not candy, but it's sweet. And it's good for them, and it's actually good for their bladder and their kidneys and a bunch of other kinds of things too.
Immune system?
Their whole immune system,
And-
because
yeah.
pineapple is anti-inflammatory as well, you know.
What was the paper that you put that
The what?
on? The paper that you put,
That was called the flex sheet.
you can buy that at Whole Foods or something?
And then
like that?
on top of wax paper, I guess?
No,
No?
it's a flex sheet. It's not wax paper and it's not handy wrap. It's like something in between. It actually has.
Permanent media that's made, the flex sheet is the actual brand name for the Excalibur's name of their sheet.
So you can see that it's got material in it.
So where do you get that at?
Well, Excalibur sells them. This dehydrator is called an Excalibur.
Can you reuse that?
Oh, yeah. That's
Is it-
wonderful
is it
thing about it. You can
expensive?
wash it. The Excalibur, how much?
It replaces the parchment paper.
Yeah. Parchment paper tends to soak up and everything sticks to it. And so I don't like to use parchment paper, especially with liquidy stuff like that.
Carl, how
But
much
this,
is that
nothing
dehydrator?
sticks to it.
You could,
It's about 200, just under 200.
So, but like I said, you know, you get used to eating like this before you go into dehydration, because you may find you don't like doing it or something, you know. But dehydrating is really fun. There's so many things you can do with it. And when you eat mostly raw, I use a dehydrator all the time. I make latkes, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So. The reason that I put the kefir coconut water into this recipe is because it puts good bacteria into your body. And it's not killed in the dehydration system because we're under 115 degrees when we make it. Okay. So the enzymes and good bacteria is still there.
Thank you.
So is the kefir that I bought in the
Raw.
supermarket, is that just as good? It had blueberry in it and it's kefir
I mean,
with
yeah.
probiotics.
Oh,
It's
yeah, a
fine.
lot sweeter
Yeah, it's good because,
than the
okay.
original.
The thing with stuff that you buy
I
though,
know, yeah.
you know, they always have this stuff to help keep
Right,
it
right,
longer.
right.
So
You feed it
that's
that
the only
way.
reason I do my own stuff.
Like,
Okay,
it's in-
Sort of hard.
okay.
I like it. Like this.
You like it?
Yeah.
Tastes like
Cranberry.
a
But you
smoothie
can always,
yogurt
if,
without meat.
yeah. If you want to make
Wait a
this in a
minute, that's what it
smoothie,
is.
all you have
Yeah,
to do
you-
is put.
Just put more coconut water or water into it.
Yeah.
Drink it.
Or pineapple juice, or any kind of juice really you
Yeah.
could put in there and sweeten it up.
I just wanted to give you a brief informational on, there's been a lot of people approaching us on the internet with questions that are coming up about diseases. And we're basically of the position that when somebody has a disease of some sort, whether it be life-threatening or it can be not as life-threatening, it might be just something that are making them uncomfortable, that's why it's called a dis-ease. There's basic startup is to do flushes. The body is in distress. There's something wrong, and that be whether it's pimples, boils, it's something trying to get out of the body. When it gets into a worse position, that would be your cancers, it's going to be your colitis, it's going to be other irritations of organs that are in dire straits because they're not being fed properly with wholesome, raw, living cells to put them back together and grow properly and get rid of anything that's distressed. But once you have a disorder, the body needs cleansings. So the basic cleansings are, one, a salt water cleanse. And it's in this book here, which we're currently out of, it's sold out already. So we need to get more of these. We'll have these in next week with a prayer. And this is called cleansing or surgery. So you can opt to go to a physician that's with the American Medical Association and have surgery. Or you can elect to go through a cleansing first. And I've always advocated, do the cleansing first, because if it doesn't work, we'll cheerfully refund your misery. It's as simple as that. If it works, your physician that you originally went to and were diagnosed with something is going to say, what happened? It's gone. Where'd it go? And they'll be in awe. Now, some of them actually know that you've gone the natural route because that's the only way to get rid of it. And others are just not knowledgeable as to what's going on naturally, naturopathically. So the saltwater flush is critical. The saltwater flush gets the entire system, the digestive system, from the stomach on through, is going to get working with the saltwater flush. And the salt water, a lot of people say, well, if you're going to do the salt water, it's going to create problems with blood pressure. And that's a misnomer, because you're getting the accurate amount of salt in the water that makes the solution not absorbable to the bloodstream. So you're not going to have the hypertension that's caused with, and you're not using table salt, that's the other thing. You do not want to use a table salt because it has been altered. You want to use a wholesome, kosher sea salt that has no additives to it. Because I've even seen the kosher sea salts that have an anti-caking agent in it. You don't want anything, because that's typically going to be aluminum. And guess what aluminum does? It affects the brain. It gives us the Alzheimer's dementia that's rampant in this country. So we want to stay away from aluminums. The other cleanse that's in here is called a lemonade flush. Great stuff, lemonade. It's simply lemons, fresh lemonade that you're making, in water, distilled water preferably, or a good filtered water. And then you're adding cayenne pepper, and you're adding maple syrup. And those, again, that have diabetes will need to go to the molasses, blackstrap molasses. And again, these additives are all going to be raw, wholesome additives that don't have any cooked out material. You want to get raw. If you don't get the raw, okay, it's still going to work to a degree. It may take a little longer. The flushes can take place for 10 to 40 days. So depending on the severity of the disease, minimum is 10 days. Ultimately, you want to get out there to the 40 days. You don't have to eat during this period. Those that have to eat, I recommend strictly going to the kimchi. Eat the kimchi. You can eat it all day long as much as you want. But those that can, bear it up, you'll get all the nutritional value with the lemonade, maple syrup additive will give you all the nutritional, all the minerals, everything you need is in it, so you don't have to worry about it. And it's not being heated to kill it. You're using fresh squeezed lemons. You're using the hot cayenne to get into the bloodstream. That's what cayenne is for, is to get into the bloodstream, to make it get into that circulatory area. And you're using the maple syrup, which is really the nutritional value, or the blackstrap molasses. So you're getting minerals and nutritional products out of that. That's going to give you the best. There's many other cleanses in here specific for different organs, for gallbladder, for kidney, and so forth. But the basic one is we want to get the intestinal system to work properly. We want to get also, when we go back into it, we're going to add the kimchi for the intestinal flora, the bacteria that's necessary before we go into eating hard foods again. So somebody's body that's in distress needs to get on a cleanse. So a lot of people have questioned it. And that can be for smoking too. I mean, people that are having smoking problems, they're not going to have a desire to smoke after they do the cleanse. People that have alcoholism, it works wonderfully. It's been shown that many things have been curative with this. And I'm not saying it's going to cure you, But the other part is that we need the spiritual conditioning. So this is a body, mind, and soul that we have to work with. Now, we can do the physical, we can get the body cleansed, but we're going to have to let the Holy Spirit come and work on us to get the rest. Because we have spiritual problems, we have dis-ease. 80% or more diseases have been shown to come from a spiritual area. Something that happened in our life, resentments, bitterness, unforgiveness, things that we have harbored that we keep on us. And we keep a nice filing cabinet. I did. I'll talk for myself. I kept for a real nice filing cabinet full of junk. And it started getting a lot of heavy weight to it. And carrying that around started to get crushing. Okay? So we don't need to harbor that. We need to get our minds clean. We need to get back into the spirit of things. If you don't have Yeshua in your life, we pray for you. When he comes. I'm not saying anybody has to go there. Father will convict you, not me. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do now the fresh cranberry juice. I'm going to blend her back. Okay. First thing we're going to do is put a 12-ounce package of frozen cranberries in that are kind of thawed right now. I went through and I, of course, cleaned all of them out so that all of them in here are good and clean. And I'm not going to add any.
No? What?
Y'all want a little bit of sweetener to this? Actually, what I think I'll do is I'll add some pineapple to it. So got some.
Pineapple?
Yeah. We'll add a pineapple core to it. Give it a little bit of sweetness.
Again, you can be inventive, creative.
And you know I
Add
am.
things to it that you like. Apple, pineapple, something to give it a little sweetness. If it's too tart for you. So you can always try it first and
A
add.
bit of coconut water, I'm going to put that in. And then some other water too.
The coconut water, by the way, is quite sweet for the most part when you get fresh coconuts.
Does it say coconut water in here?
No, it
No,
doesn't
it's
say that.
it's something we add on occasion, we add something being creative.
I'm a beginner, so.
Yeah, that's okay. Being creative is nice because like coconut water has a sweetness to it. And cranberries, for the most part, when people's new to this program of trying raw foods,
Makes you feel better.
their sweetness buds are way up here. I mean,
Yeah.
they
You're
like
used to
sweets.
really, really sweet stuff. Right.
And we, when we eat our food, what's sweet to us now, somebody will
Right.
taste and go, oh man, that's bitter.
So you do a sweet, sweet
So,
sour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've gotten our sweet capacity way down
Right.
as a result of going raw.
Right.
It makes a difference.
How much coconut water did you put in there?
I put in a cup.
Cup, 4 ounces?
1 cup?
8 ounces. 1
Eight?
cup, 8 ounces.
8 ounces.
That includes the other water.
Yeah, and the other water I put in about 1/4 of a cup,
That was plain water.
plain water.
You could put in all coconut.
You could put in all coconut water, oh, and you can put in all water.
So like 1 1/4.
I'm just
I cook all the
being
time.
creative here.
I'm not
We're gonna try this, what happens?
Here's a soup one. Isn't that a pretty color? I just love the color of cranberry and stuff.
It's like fading warm.
Nice, nice. Don't drink it all, Debbie.
Oh, it tastes really good, but it's really sweet tart, more
Says-
tart than sweet.
It says here you bring it to a boil.
Well, yes, that's the one that you can do if you don't have a blender. I put the one in here for you all who don't have blenders. I don't know, maybe you do have blenders. Do you have a Vitamix or a Blendtec?
Blender.
Okay. Usually a blender does not do the kind of job that this does.
That's a Vitamix?
This is a blend tech, actually.
Blend Tech.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
BLENDTEC.
Thank you.
All one
BLE
word.
and what?
Blend?
DTEC.
Blend Tech?
Blend tech, and it's all one word.
Yeah.
So this one that I gave you in your directions are if you do not have a blender. Because if you don't have a blender, then you'll need to do it this way. If you do have a blender, you can try it this way and see if it works. Just try it. I'm going to add a little bit of honey
Is this
because,
blender the same or, I mean, a similar thing to the Vitamix? that
yes,
you-
if you have a Vitamix, this is very similar to it.
Here's the Vitamix over here.
What if you don't mind my asking, what do they usually run, these, either
A
one?
Vitamix is, how much did we say?
480.
450.
450.
450, and
Plus tax.
this
Blend
one,
Tech is about the same,
Yeah.
450, 470.
If you have a Vitamix, you need to have one of these
No.
too?
no.
What
if
are
you
the
have a-
other?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need a good, strong blender.
Where would you do that?
Okay.
And we haven't tested, there's a new one out that Montel Williams is
Yes.
putting out, and I'm not sure yet, without testing that, to see if it's going to work or not.
Serious
These will
ad.
break down
Yeah, Debbie should
all the
come over
fibers,
before I
even
leave,
seeds,
definitely. You have
to
to
the
come over
fibers
before I leave, just to
molecularly
see.
level.
Yeah,
That's the
I haven't even
difference.
used it. I have
Which
not
one
even
do
put
you,
anything
you should
in it.
bring it here.
You
and
should
let
have
me
brought
know.
it.
Why?
Yeah.
It does a better job.
Than the Vitamix?
Yes.
Because the Vitamix has that thing that you push.
Plunger.
Yeah, which is nice, but this,
We haven't
it
needed
pulls
it.
us, it pulls stuff
You don't need
in.
it.
So far, I have not needed. to
Actually,
do
we've
that.
had a couple times it got bound up, we just jammed too much in, to boost it up again.
I'm gonna make some
Typically,
noise.
it doesn't need.
Can you make nut butters in that?
Oh, yeah.
Things in the Vitamix?
Yeah.
What's the difference between that blender and that thing? Is it just got better blades or it spins
More
faster?
horsepower, they say.
Horsepower?
Yeah.
Speed design.
What was the thing, what was the one that he used to do the radishes? Is that a regular
This,
blender or?
no, that wasn't a blender, that was my food processor.
Oyster,
Oh,
an oyster, or whatever it is. That's a fun thing.
No, not the radishes, because the radishes,
Speed breaks down.
well, you could blend it all together, but I don't know how good it tastes. I like the textures that with the shredded radishes and then pouring the sauce over the top of it. So you guys need to try that. It's very sweet tart and mostly tart. But remember, when you're doing usually the cranberry juice, it's because you probably have a bladder infection.